What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's Top 3. We are so excited for this week's episode. We have some really great decks geared towards magicians, some really fun ones, some that are close to the heart as well from good friends of ours. So we're really excited to see this week's Top 3. Steve, this has been a crazy week so far, man, and it's about to get a whole lot crazier.
Dude, the week is just starting for us.
It really is. Part of me is dreading tomorrow. The other part of me is super excited because you know what? I'm not as young as I used to be, and staying up for 24 hours straight is no easy task. That's for sure. But for anyone who does not know, we are going to be doing a 24-hour live starting tomorrow, December 18th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Deckin Around YouTube channel. The link is on the channel as is. But one of the great things about it, we are going to be having a lot of great guests on. We're going to be doing an awesome competition. There's going to be a lot of fun out there for everything going on with this. So if you are not tuned in now, make sure you're tuning in tomorrow because it is going to be an episode that you do not want to miss for 24 hours. Jackson Robinson's going to be designing a amazing new Bulldog themed deck, which I'm super pumped for. So
I didn't even know he was doing a
he announced it on his he announced it today. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's going to be a very fun one. I'm really excited for it. But today's episode of this week's Top 3, we are here now. For anyone out there who has not jumped on the chance to win a free Deckin Around mystery deck tonight, head over to last week's video and drop a comment on it. You have until about the end of the video until we pull in those comments and everyone gets entered in. With that as well, we are going to be starting off this week's giveaway. So for anyone who doesn't know, hit !raffle in the chat to get your chance to win a deck this week. We are so excited. 2 mystery decks going right here. And honestly, there's going to be a ton of giveaways tomorrow as well. So if you don't win tonight, tune in tomorrow. It's going to be some great ones. So
yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, real lot of stuff. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. You ready for it?
I am. I'm pretty ready for it, man. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
I can find the button. Dude, I gotta say, this is going to be an exciting one. Everyone's putting the raffle thing in there. Let me make sure that this is working out here because it should be showing up in the chat. Hopefully, if not, I'm going to get it restarted in a second here, but it should be showing up in the chat. So let me see. Yeah, it shows as open. And let's see. You should see a message show up in the chat for anyone out there. No worries. You're going to have your chance while it's going. So why don't we take a look first at number 3 this week? You ready for number 3, Steve?
Show it to us.
All right, man. Coming in at number 3 this week, we have the Cedars playing cards from Ali Asfour, designed by Noah Abdallah. This deck is printed by WJPC on their casino quality stock. It's part of an unspecified print run. And I got to say, this was a deck a long time in the making, so we're really excited to see this one. It retails for $12.50 for anyone who did not have a chance to pick this up on Kickstarter. I have to say, we saw the iterations from start to finish of this deck, and it's great to see it actually in hand now. One of the cool things about this actually started as a borderless deck, and as you could see, the final outcome there was in fact a bordered version, which looked absolutely spectacular. I think Noah and Ali did a phenomenal job on that deck.
Yeah, such a cool deck, and I like the color too. You know, it was a nice green, and you know, I'm super psyched that he finally was able to bring it to fruition, and I'm pretty psyched about this deck.
Dude, us as well, for sure. I mean, I was really pumped on it. I know Ali is super pumped on it. Yeah. Everyone, I can see that the raffle entries are now going through. If you typed it in and you haven't seen an acknowledgement from Streamlabs yet, make sure to drop it in there. It should be picking up through the cycle there. While we're at it, let's check out this deck here.
Show it to us.
All right. So, if I can get this thing to play... There we go. Yeah, I'm going. So, as you can see, a really clean matte green tuck here, really beautifully colored, nice ad copy on the bottom, and a nice white relief image across the whole thing. The one thing that really stood out to me about this tuck box is it almost has like a kind of waxy feel, which we don't always see, but I would guess is probably a relatively standard paper for WJPC printing their tucks. It was actually a really sturdy tuck as well. It was almost a little bit difficult to open, and you can see that little like cedar bough right there, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's really cedar bough, huh?
Yeah.
Coming in with the good words.
And then look at this back design, man. That is
Cool.
just fun. Really made for magicians in mind here. This deck is absolutely beautiful. I feel like Ali mentioned to me that this deck is marked. And if I'm incorrect there, Ali, drop a note in the chat because I know you're out there. But for any magician out there who's looking for something reasonably priced that really has a great vibe to it, this is an amazing deck. Very standard across the numbers and indices there, but you can actually see they are custom shaped. They're actually a little bit smaller, and I'm a little close there, but they're a little bit smaller on the indices than you're usually used to, but they still have that serifed font, so it keeps that kind of traditional styling to it as well.
Looks a little fatter on the pips too.
The pips are definitely nice and chunky, which I know you love. And then one of my favorite parts about this deck, you can see the customized courts, which retain the standard faces there, but actually are all dressed in Lebanese attire, which Ali and Noah both being Lebanese and obviously going through a lot right now in Lebanon, they wanted to be able to create something that was important to them as well, but also would help get the name of the Lebanese people out there. The really cool thing about this, checking out his campaign, there was a discussion about how this attire was used during a dance, which is basically a form of like social protest, which is really a nice artistic way to bring protest to a peaceful way. I really love seeing that across the board because you, again, still have those standard faces there, but they have that unique cultural aspect to it, which I'm sure really probably was amazing for Ali to get his hands on these and see them.
Yeah, looks like the Arco faces actually.
Yeah.
That's
And
really cool.
the interesting thing too, and I don't think I did a great job showing it here, but the 10s themselves were a little skinny to the point that it stood out very interestingly. And then you have what we all love here, a diptych joker, but it's actually a two-way
Ooh,
diptych, which is
double
really
diptych.
fun. Yeah. So you
Nice.
have the guy walking to and from the well there,
Wow.
which I think is absolutely amazing. Then for true magicians out there, you have a blank face and a double backer gaffs as well, which can't go wrong there. Two great cards, obviously. And I have to say, I really like the feel of the WJPC decks. Maybe not the best fan, but more so because they were in my hands than for anything else there. But I do have to say that at the end of the day, these WJPC decks really are, wow, really are good there. So it's funny because these buttons should work, but they don't always. So I apologize ahead of time for that one. But that being said, I have to say, I really, really liked the way that the Cedars came out. I think the deck themselves felt great in hand. They fanned really well. They spread really well. WJPC has done a great job creating new stock as well. It's got a really interesting feel to it there, kind of almost soft, but not as soft as like a Cardamundi.
Yeah, I mean they definitely make a good deck, and I'm surprised more people don't utilize them.
I am too as well. I think there is a little bit of a kind of I don't know. I don't know why people don't necessarily go with them. You know, we see a little bit of TWPCC, but WJPC does a great job. And honestly, for a long time, WJPC was doing the printing for Kingstar. So for people out there who enjoy the Kingstar feel of decks, it's basically the same as the WJPC. I
Yeah,
see
the old
Dark
Ace Lion decks.
Yeah. So I see the Dark Soul in there. When's the raffle? The raffle will end at the end of the video. So everyone who throws an entry in at the end of the video, you'll get a chance to win one of these beautiful mystery decks here. And then the other one will go to someone who commented on last week's video after the live. So one of the interesting things that I'll say about that as well is this is in fact the last this week's top 3 of the year, with Christmas Eve being next Friday and New Year's Eve being the following Friday. We want everyone out there enjoying the time with their family and friends and relaxing. We may pop on, we very well may pop on to do a quick laid back chat and hang out kind of session, but no official this week's top 3 next week or the week after. So on this video, if you leave a comment after the live stream, your chance will be to win a deck, I think the following week, which is like the second week of the new year, which is maybe the 7th. The 7th of January will be the next chance here. So don't forget to leave the comment, but not only are you going to have 1 week, you're actually going to have 3 weeks to leave that comment on, or 2 weeks to leave that comment, 3, something like that. 3 full weeks to leave the comment on the video so that you can make sure to get in on that. Robert, we're glad you didn't miss this episode either, man. We have some fun decks in store for you. So everyone out there, make sure to type in ~raffle. Make sure you get your entry in for this one. And if you haven't left a comment on last week's video yet, you still have a little bit of time. So head on over there and leave a comment.
Yeah.
You ready for number 2 this week, Steve?
Are you ready? You might have
I
teased it
am.
a little bit, but that's
Maybe
okay.
a little bit. You know, I was a little slow on my reflexes today. There's a lot of moving parts here, but
Dude, hey, I like teases every once in a while. It's okay.
dude, they all come to see the deck. You know, it's not the position, it's the deck you're in. And I gotta say, man, these are some fun decks this week. So why don't you tell us what number 2 is?
Number two is the Oak Nut set. We're gonna say the deck created by Penguin Magic. It is printed on their Ultra Lux. It is a print run of 250, and it retails for $50.
And now one of the cool things about this set, because it was only available in set, they had that high price point on. You're actually getting a standard limited edition deck and a gilded deck. We only looked at the limited edition here because we didn't want to break out the gilded, but dude, it is a good deck. I love it.
Yeah.
Neural coming in with the little smart aleckiness. We love you, Neural. Thank you for that. Is it Oak Nut by any chance? You know what? Next time I'm just
What
gonna
made you
start
think
throwing
that?
I'm gonna start throwing little teasers in at the end of the videos just in case. It's gonna be like the most random stuff, like a picture of my shopping list or something.
What is
Uh,
the next one? Cheese? Is
is
it
the
milk?
next one cheese? It may be. Is it the eggs deck? I think it is.
I think it's the burrito.
Oh my
If
gosh.
Tyler's list is either the burrito or the pizza.
The burrito, the pizza, or the Oreos deck. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong with those. I'm gonna tell you, if anyone out there comes out with a Deckin Around deck, there's gonna be some fast junk food in that deck right there. So, man, we ready to check this thing out?
Let's see it.
Let's do it.
All right. This tuck is super cool. It is definitely like a smooth finish. It's
Yeah.
on nice brown paper. It is glossy. It has some really cool font on the side. You see Ultra Lux. On the back, really nice vintage style with the acorns or oak nuts, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that threw me off a little bit. I'll be honest. I wasn't exactly sure what an oak nut was until I opened it. I'm like, oh, you mean an acorn?
Yeah. I kind of like oak nut. It sounds cooler, but
It's definitely a little fancier.
yeah, no, for sure, 100%. It handles great being their ultra lux. There's your ace of spades, and I like the borders around these number cards. The indices and pips are kind of opposite. You have big indices and smaller pips, which isn't
Yeah,
normally how they go.
dude, these jumbo indices are crazy.
They really are. They're not like jumbo. They're kind of in the middle of jumbo and standard.
Yeah.
But I like how enlarged the courts are. They go to the very end of the border, and
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's a shame that the camera couldn't pick it up, but there's a beautiful green that they actually have in the courts there, which is what I was trying to capture in that. And it's just such a beautiful looking deck.
Yeah, and I love the detail that's hidden inside the pips. Really cool colors. You can see the
Yeah.
little acorn leaves or oak nut leaves on the
Yeah.
wardrobe.
Dude, they really did keep the standard styling with a lot of just added kind of touches around the whole acorn or oak leaves and all of that, which I thought was really well done.
Yeah, and in the video, as you can see, in the images of the court cards, the colors look like they're really dark. They're not that dark in person. You can definitely see the contrast between the
Yeah,
two.
don't mind me getting way too close there, but
I love that intricate detail in
yeah.
the clubs. It's really cool. Look at the beautiful kind of squished hearts. Definitely a different shape than you're used to seeing in most um, in most decks.
Yeah.
Really fun jokers. Opposite,
Yeah.
going the opposite ways, different colors. I just love how enlarged this whole deck is. From the number cards all the way to the court cards. It's really cool. Then you have a double backer and a blank face card, like most Magic decks that Penguins put out.
Yeah, and I have to say too, the fans themselves were not that beautiful on this one. Fresh out of the box, this was literally a first time set here, so we did not have a chance to break it in really. But this deck breaks in really quick, and that Ultra Lux stock actually fans great. Your first maybe 3 or 4 fans out of the box may be a little chunky like that one was there, but they actually fanned really well in spite of that, which I thought was great. I really like how well they built it out. It's funny though too. Bobby even said, "Is that what an oak nut is?" So it's not just me who did not know what an acorn
I don't
was.
think anybody knew. I think Kevin
So,
was the only one that knew.
and that's the thing. I'm wondering, like, I'm sitting there filming this. I'm like, I wonder if like oak nut is a regional term that only people in certain areas call acorns, which was really interesting. But the other cool thing that I think about this deck that they hit on the mark, it has such a traditional old school vibe to it. And if we look again at the tuck here, like you can see how crosshatched it kind of gives it this old kind of like wood pressing kind of feel to it, like old school printing techniques and everything.
Yeah, that border kind of and I don't know if I'm just going way out here. it just kind of reminds me of kind of like a throw rug that you'd see, maybe in Africa, like some really cool detailing on that outside border. Really
Dude,
nice.
absolutely. They did a phenomenal job with it, and I was really excited to see how well they did because I think it just looks good. It
Yeah.
looks clean, it looks fun, and that's always a little bit tough when you're trying to get not only a new style to a deck or a new deck out there, but I think with the fact that they really did a fun job on the traditional aspects of it. You know, you see a lot of people try and do traditional inspired decks, and they're much more modern than traditionally done. This one, phenomenal job on it for sure.
Yeah, I mean that brown just speaks vintage, and not many
Yes.
people use that color. I really like it. I think it works. As soon as I see a deck in that color, I'm like, oh, that's a nice vintage deck, like vintage style deck.
Lior said, "Is that Steve's doing, or that Oaknut deck could fan even better?" So I'm the one who fanned that one, and I'll tell you, Lior, it was actually like fresh out the box. The stock fans really well, but it doesn't evenly space as nicely as like a Cordamundi or a USPCC do. You do a couple like riffles with it, you shuffle it a couple times, and it fans just as good as most other decks out of the box. I just did not want to get it out of new deck order and then put it back into new deck order. So I didn't shuffle it or anything. That was literally the first time the deck was taken out of the box, and it fanned really well.
And another thing is that Oaknut set was also one of the first decks that was printed on that Ultralux. So
Yes.
since then, the gingerbread was printed on there, and that handles amazing right out of the box. So it might have been, their first iteration of that stock, but
Yeah.
the new Ultralux definitely feels 100 times better than Oaknut, even though Oaknut feels great as well. But that was
It,
one of the first decks they printed on it.
it's interesting too because feeling Oaknut versus feeling the other decks, like feeling gingerbread, which I have in hand right now. Gingerbread actually feels a little stiffer,
Yeah.
but a little less, I don't want to say waxy, but it's got a little bit of a different feel to the paper. So, like, while they very well could have been the exact same print process and everything, there could have been a little bit of, different humidity during the print process. So many different environmental factors that could make them handle just slightly different. But it was really interesting to see. I did like the oak nuts a lot, though.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, as we go forward, I think that Ultralux is even getting better and better. So it's going
Yes.
to be interesting to see how it turns out, a couple months from now, a couple years from now.
That is correct, Lior. So Penguin now has an exclusive printing deal with their own printer who is based out of China. And honestly, they're doing phenomenal work.
Yeah.
Penguin did a lot of R&D into making sure these decks handle great. Kevin, being a very big magician and card handler, really put a lot of hours into it. And I think they did a phenomenal job with it. And Oaknut, honestly, out of the two, Gingerbread's fun. Oaknut is something you could sit down and play poker with every night.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that gilded is pretty dope. That nice brown gilding that we don't see very often. Obviously we didn't show it, but it's beautiful. And if anybody has a chance to pick up that Oaknut set, I don't think there's many left, but
I think there's 26 left.
yeah, so head over to Penguin and pick them up.
Yeah, definitely need to make sure that you check him out if anyone's looking. I mean, even Neural said in the chat, like, phenomenal deck there.
Yeah.
With that in mind, for anyone who has not done so yet, make sure to type !raffle into the chat. Get yourself entered in this week's giveaway, as well as making sure you comment on last week's video, because after we finish with number one, we are pulling winners for both of them, which means you have only a few minutes left to get in on either of these giveaways here. Steve, I'm excited for this one. This is a very interesting deck. You ready for
Number
this
one, man? It's number one.
All right, let's do this here. Coming in at number one this week, we have the Guy Hollingsworth Burgundy Edition playing cards. This is actually a V2 of the Guy Hollingsworth release, and this is a beautiful deck printed by Cordamundi on their B9 Slimline stock, part of an unspecified print run, which likely will mean unlimited print run, and retails for $15. Guy Hollingsworth, obviously being a big magician, we don't always see a lot of limited editions in the magician's world, especially if they want something that they can use as a everyday carry for themselves. So a lot of times we see very high print runs on those. In this case, it's unspecified. That could be 1,000, it could be 5,000, it could be 50,000 at the end of the day. But yeah, dude, great looking deck. And I'm actually surprised because this came in two colorways, a green and a red. And Steve opted to film the red.
Yes, I knew you were gonna say something. But
of course I had to.
yeah, I mean, I knew you were gonna say something, but you know what? This it's dark enough where it's maroon, and I'm obviously wearing a maroon sweatshirt, so I can dig maroon. It's not so much red, but it's in the red family, but it's definitely
Yeah,
cooler than just red.
it matches your hoodie.
I know, that's what I said, I'm wearing maroon myself.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm surprised by it, but you
Burgundy,
know,
sorry,
yeah,
burgundy.
burgundy, maroon, basically the same thing. But
Yeah,
unless you're an artist and really into colors, they're basically the same thing. Red is red, right?
whatever you wanna call it.
Oh my, oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Let's check this thing out because this really is a beautiful deck.
Yeah.
So you can see right here, we have a really fun, pretty minimalist tuck box here. Beautiful gold foil across the board on it. I gotta say, man, I think they did a really nice job with this. I like that matte maroon. I like the gold and the black foil. That's
Yeah.
probably that black foil is my favorite part, I think.
Yeah, dude, I like how they spaced everything out. It's just classy.
Yeah, and there you can see on the ad copy on the bottom there, Vanishing Ink produced this deck, which I think is absolutely great. And you can actually see that foil design on the back is actually mirrored on the back design of the deck itself. And there is foil printing on it, which Cardamundi does a phenomenal cold foil job. That thing just looks beautiful.
Yeah, and it's bordered. V1 wasn't bordered, so I'm really excited that they put the border on it.
Dude, I think that's really a big step there because a lot of times, you want to be able to find something that looks great in both a bordered and a borderless version. Obviously, being a B9 slimline deck, this thing handles and fans like a dream. Really feels great in hand, too. Still, probably some of the thinnest stock out there right now. You have matching jokers with that little ace of spades, we could call it, kind of little fun reveal in either hand there. Very clever nod to the idea of palming a card.
Nice little sneaky palm there.
Yeah, and then you have the Guy Hollingsworth Ace of Spades with his kind of like logoed monogram there, which I think looks great. I have to say, dude, I'd love that thin line font they use for the indices on this deck.
Yeah, and pips are a little smaller too, which is really cool, and they have their own shape, not your standard shape.
Yeah, and then you can see some really nice color on the quartz there as well. But I think one of the great things to look at this is the fact that the maroon comes through on the fronts as well. It's not that traditional bright red.
Yeah, dude, I love that dark red
And
color.
so now is that gold there on the quartz a
Yep.
foil or is it a metallic ink?
You know what? Here's the thing. Katamundi usually doesn't have metallic ink that looks like foil, but I'm gonna be honest, it was hard to tell if it was foil or not, but I think it's metallic ink.
Interesting. It definitely looks like metallic ink to me as well because it doesn't have the same shimmer that you would expect from a foil. But
Yeah.
dude, it's good looking. It's still a good looking front there. It adds a little bit of character without being too overly designed, you know?
Yeah, no, totally.
And I love the colorways they chose with it. It really looks great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I think they did a great job. And it's
Yeah.
funny, if you look if you look at the court cards, the eyes, what color are
Yeah.
the eyes?
Are they burgundy? Are they white? They look white.
So they are white, but they look yellow.
Interesting.
Dude, I literally had to like hold it back, zoom in with my with my phone with my camera, and they literally. And I don't know if it
And
was
look at that.
because
Look
of
at that fan, dude.
if it was because of the gold metallic ink or
Yeah.
what, but it made it look like the eyes were yellow.
That's so weird. And dude, I can't get enough of that black and gold foil on the front there. It looks so clean. I think the one thing to me that stands out on this deck that would have made it that much better would have been if they had done the exploded aces across the board, even if they were all just the logo done in different shapes. You
Yeah,
know,
no, definitely. And
would have added, yeah, that one last touch to it.
yeah, I think it's interesting that they decided to print with Katamundi as well, where the V1 was printed with USPCC.
I'm telling you, man, B9 Slimline stock is really making waves, I think. I think people are really starting to like it. The other interesting thing about this, and I'm glad I have it up here, has such like an art deco vibe to it. You
Yeah,
know, I think that's just kind of the styling that Guy Hollingsworth goes with, but it looks so great. And for anyone who doesn't know, his initials there are actually done as an ambigram. It's GH and then another GH on the other side. So it doesn't really spell out anything necessarily going both ways. It's more GH on either side of it there.
yeah.
But the
If you look at Guy Hollingsworth,
GH9,
he's kind of like the 007 of Magic. He's
there you
really
go.
classy, very cool. So this tuck box definitely fits him well.
Dude, I absolutely love the way they did this one. I think he honestly put together a really nice deck with it. It's clean, it's fun, definitely well deserving that number one spot. And I think what took it though, the back design. The back
100%.
design to me on this thing was absolutely gorgeous. You know, the fact that there's foil on it definitely puts it in a different category. I think it's tough to beat a nicely done foil deck. But even if this thing had not had foil, I think it still would have come in as number one because of that patterning. They really designed it very well. It almost reminds me of like a textile pattern, like a tweed or something along those lines. You know, not necessarily a houndstooth, but something where you would see it in the patterning of a suit. Which for anyone who knows Guy Hollingsworth, he is pretty much always in a suit, like Steve said, that whole 007-esque vibe. But
Yeah, and here's
beautiful
why I
deck.
chose the burgundy one over the emerald, is what they're calling it, is because the emerald one didn't have that solid back color. So it
Okay,
was basically a white back with green accents. So it
interesting.
wasn't fully green. You know, if it was that dark green on the back, just like it was with that red,
That would have
I
looked really good.
probably would have chose the green.
Yeah, that would have looked really good. And so for anyone out there who's listening, if you have not done so already, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, you're probably seeing a lot of people in chat drop an exclamation mark raffle. That's to get in on this week's top 3 giveaway. So make sure to drop an exclamation mark raffle in the chat. You got another probably like minute or two left before we're pulling winners here. So for your chance to win one of the awesome, you know, Steven Tyler wrapped mystery decks here, make sure to drop that in the chat. This is an older one too. I'll tell you how I know, because I was using a lot more tape in the beginning and there's just huge chunks of tape all over the back.
It
So,
looks like all of them when I see them.
oh man, some of the later ones are a lot cleaner on the tape. You know, it's like half the usage. I was trying to be a little more conservative. So,
Thank you
and
so much,
listen,
Lior. Yes, like the
thank
video,
you.
everybody. Check it
Definitely
out.
like the video if you have not done so already. And we are actually going to pull the comment winner for last week's video right now. So you have a little bit more time to get that exclamation mark raffle in the chat. Let me pull this up here and we can see the always underwhelming YouTube random comment picker.
Oh yeah.
Again, I wish this thing had a little more fanfare to it. One day when I have some, yes, Joseph, you are all limited to 1 raffle ticket each. There is going to be an opportunity later or early next year to find a way to get more raffle tickets. But for now, you are limited to 1 raffle ticket each. Keeping it fair for everybody. That being said, one day we're also going to design something that's a little more exciting, we'll say, than this
Not so
thing.
anticlimactic.
I mean, honestly, even if it showed off some fireworks or some confetti or something. But that being said, we are locking it in here. So I'm going to go fetch the comments right now. And we are going to no replies, no anything goes. There we go. We have 61 comments. Did I put in the right video link? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, man.
Let me go check.
That's possible.
61. Oh, damn, I think last week we were at 36.
It doesn't look like this. It doesn't look like the right one.
Let me double check. I'll go open this here. Let's see.
Now be
Dude,
careful.
it is the right one.
Oh,
It is the
nice.
right one. Look at
Nice.
that. 61 comments. So I got to say, that's really exciting because that's almost double last week. So thank you to each and every one of you out there who are leaving comments on the videos. We super, super appreciate it. The cool thing about this is, like I said, you're going to actually have 3 weeks to comment on this video after the fact to make sure you get in on it. So
See what
let's,
Halam wrote? Halam, if I ever get one of these mystery decks, I'm not even going to open it just to keep
the mystery. Hey, you know what? Honestly, maybe what we're going to do is next year stick around for the 24-hour episode and we're going to make sure that we have offerings for everyone to pick up their own Deckin Around wrapping paper, and then you can have your own mystery anytime you want. But that being said, let's pick this winner here. Ready? We got 61 entries, and the winner for last week's comment winner is Peter Kronberg. Peter, I know you're in the chat too, so congratulations, Peter. Make sure to drop us an email, show@deckinaround.com, show@deckinaround.com. Send us your address. We'll get that deck out to you probably Monday after we've recovered from the 24-hour episode. Yeah. But that being said, we are now going to be pulling the raffle winner for this week's episode, which means that the time has come. If you haven't done it already, make sure to exclamation raffle in the chat. You have a very short time before I close over into the other window here and end the raffle while we plug this week's big event, which is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. 24-hour live extravaganza, Deckin Around, Jackson Robinson, sitting down, doing our second annual event. We are going to be having giveaways, awesome events,
Bro,
a designer
ton of
showdown.
giveaways.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally doing a giveaway every hour, so make sure to come on in. We are going to show off some amazing artwork from great designers within the community. I think that starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be dropping a community post later tonight with all of the times laid out, so make sure to tune in for not only your favorite aspects of it, but as many parts of the show as you can, because it's honestly going to be awesome. Also, those hourly giveaways are not going to be on the hour every hour, so you're going to have to make sure that you're tuned in for them. You're not just going to be able to roll in at 11:01 and hope you get in on the giveaway. Not that we think you'd do that, because we all know you love us and we love you. But with that in mind, Jackson's also going to be designing an amazing deck. Last year, he did the Lord Dundreary's deck of Monocle Marvelous. Yeah, the Monocle deck. Took him 16 hours. This year, he's actually doing fully custom courts, the works on this deck. So it may take him longer, but we always usually have some sort of fun limited edition or something like that exclusive for the 24-hour episode. So make sure to tune in for that. And with that said, I am going to close up the entries right here. We're going to see a little note pop up in the chat. Neural, there you go. Looking forward to the design comp. Rooting for Max. I got to say, I'm excited to see whoever wins. We're going to be picking 3 top winners. And one of the best parts about it, all of you are going to have a vote in who wins tomorrow. So not only are you going to have a chance to check out some amazing new artists, see some great artwork, you're also going to have a chance to determine who wins. So the raffle is closed. It is now time for us to pick an amazing winner for this one. The last top 3 raffle of 2021. Ready for this, Steve?
I can't believe it's the end of the year. I'm not ready for a new year.
I am not either, but we ready to get this winner picked?
Let's do it.
All right. I pick a winner, and damn, this MFer is lucky lately.
Oh, man. Who is it?
Oh, you know who it is. He's winning big things left and right. Congratulations to Jay. Jay, make sure to hit us up, show@deckinaround.com. Again, show@deckinaround.com. Send us your address. We will get this mystery deck out to you once I've recovered enough to go to the post office on Monday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you coming out here. Honestly, Jay won this deck, but he's going to be getting this whole platter of decks from Jackson. Know, right? So this measly little thing's going to be whatever. But Jay, congratulations. We're so glad you won. Everyone out there, make sure to comment on this video for your chance to win when we come back with another This Week's Top 3 in January, on January 7th. The cool thing about that, it'll be the first top 3 of 2022, which means we may just have some bangers in the mix. Yeah, we're gonna have to come find out.
So you don't miss out.
Yeah. So everyone out there, make sure to tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the 24-hour live extravaganza. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to enjoy your Friday evenings. We appreciate each and every one of you. Like, share, and subscribe, and we are out of here.
Peace.